U.S.-based China manufacturing is slowly moving to India. Yeah, Bangladesh, India, Mexico, and Canada as well. I mean, we're getting a lot of the manufacturing going to Mexico actually as well. But yeah, we've been rugging the Chinese U.S. manufacturing since 2016. Some say 2015, but 2016 legitimately under Trump, and this has caused a lot of problems for China, access to dollars. And this is why you ended up having China going into Hong Kong in order to get access to whatever dollars that Hong Kong had, because they were desperately in need of dollars for international trade and buying things. From there, this is why they've also just recently in Hong Kong they're going to allow listings of cryptocurrencies and all this other stuff, because they need another active. They need to turn these active markets on in order to get access to dollars, basically, because all these countries' currencies are total fucking trash outside of their own countries. No one trusts them for international trade, so they're forced to go into the market to go get dollars. But because the China-America relationship has soured so badly, they are pretty much having a lot of trouble getting access to those dollars now that the U.S. factories are slowly trying to move out of China, and this is causing a big cash crunch in the country. So this is why you're getting a lot of Chinese investments into other places and stuff, trying to get access to those currencies, to sell those currencies off in order to get dollars. This is why we're having not the U.S. dollar, even though we have large inflation here in the United States, the inflation is much worse in other countries because of the weakness of basically some of the biggest players not being able to get dollars and stuff. So you have other countries selling off other countries' currencies reserves in the open market in order to get dollars, and then other countries also as well printing their own currency in order to get more U.S. dollars. And there's also this another incentive as well, is that other countries, because of the global system of trade, they need to print more of their currency out in the market for it to be weaker against the dollar in order to facilitate more international trade. So it's just a big fucking like clusterfuck of just other countries. If the dollar is strong relative to their currencies, other currencies just start printing like crazy in order to bolster up their international trade and stuff. So it's just a crazy situation that we're in right now. Kind of insane, man. But yeah, man. Let's see. DCC, how long has China been trading with Mexico? I was on vacation in Oaxaca and saw a bunch of motorcycle taxis, 3 wheels that had Indian labels. I mean, there's always international trade no matter what and stuff like that. But like a lot of the Chinese trade is kind of cartel based and stuff like that. A lot of those horrible fentanyl drugs and crap like that gets into the country is because the Chinese are essentially doing a reverse of the opium war on the United States and trying to bring fentanyl and a bunch of these kind of hard drugs into the States and other countries they want to kind of weaken as well. But you do have some investment in this place, but the United States is tentacles are pretty far reaching, even in Mexico and stuff, obviously because the biggest trading partner, but you still get some investment in some stuff from foreign countries and stuff. So that's not going to go away. It's kind of crazy. And that's right, man. And that is right, man. 102 live viewers and 39 likes. Like the video, you guys. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll keep going, man.
Country like Thailand, Turkey, the Philippines, or Brazil have made a decisive turn towards Russia, China, or America. But like a girl with many suitors, they're incentivized to play off different countries in order to get as many goodies as possible as they compete for influence. Erdogan and Turkey would rotate between Russian, European, Chinese, and American influence, as well as other factions in the Middle East, depending on Turkey's needs at that very moment. You can see a similar thing in Pakistan, where on paper, Pakistan is a strong U.S. ally. However, in real terms, Pakistan is receiving massive amounts of funding from China, which has announced an Iron Brotherhood, and America does not trust Pakistan at all. This shows how the Brics could exist on paper theoretically, but actually have no impact on the ground. Let's just run through what relationships each of the countries in the Brics have to each other to show how unreal it is. Brazil is largely an American ally. It's not especially a strong one, but it's still there. Brazil doesn't have lots of foreign entanglements and is largely self-contained, but used to trade a tremendous amount of its natural resources to the Chinese market. Thus, it served for Brazilians to respect China. Russia is in an alliance with China, although one rife with massive mistrust, and the Chinese Communist Party has a significant faction that wants to annex Siberia, and both know it's a relationship of convenience against the Americans.
That is crazy. I didn't know there was a whole Chinese thing to annex Siberia. What the fuck? I actually didn't. I've never heard of that. That's insane, dude. Holy crap. Oh my god, man, that is funny. But damn, that is insane actually to think about that. But I mean, also, I mean, China also has Mongolia sort of as a puppet state, and so there's this weird sort of thing where, like, if you actually look here on the map, Russia and China have kind of pump money into Mongolia and stuff like that in order to kind of keep it as a buffer state between the two countries. Even though they're frenemies and stuff, they kind of like having a buffer state between them anyway, regardless. That is crazy that they're trying to get Siberia, man. What the hell, man? The more you know, man. Sheesh. Let me go back on that. That's crazy.
Massive mistrust, and the Chinese Communist Party has a significant faction that wants to annex Siberia, and both know it's a relationship of convenience against the Americans. You can see the weakness in that China has not supported Russia's invasion of Ukraine at all. Russia and India are weak allies, but that gets trumped by India's top ally being the Americans, who are Russia's biggest enemy. As said before, India and China despise each other. South Africa, meanwhile, is geopolitically a non-entity, as we'll explain later. South Africa has taken some money from the Chinese, like most of Africa, but to say they're actually a strong ally would be going way too far. From all this, the idea of the Brics as a shared coalition in any way like NATO or how the Warsaw Pact used to be is completely ridiculous. Let me explain to you how the idea of the Brics started. It was when the chairman of Goldman Sachs encouraged it in 2001 as a way to promote investment.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, fucking Goldman Sachs. God damn it. Jesus Christ. Of course it had to be Goldman Sachs. It had to be it's always Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, or the fucking CIA. Jesus. So so basically Goldman Sachs kind of pushed this whole thing around in order for them to drum up more capital from, I guess, just investment all over the world in order to kind of fund these kind of these trades and stuff, because commodity prices were going to be pretty decently high, so they'd be able to make a lot more money. Crazy, dude.
Let me explain to you how the idea of the Brics started. It was when the chairman of Goldman Sachs encouraged it in 2001 as a way to promote investment in those countries, which people would hopefully do through Goldman Sachs. Like a couple other things, it was an advertising scheme that went way too well. The idea of the Brics and their rise to global success was pushed by 3 separate interest groups that benefited from the idea, and there was no group that pushed against it, so it just became conventional knowledge. The first group, as alluded to before, is financial types. The early 2000s were the era of the most capital or cheap money for investment in all of human history. This was since it was a time with the highest percentage of middle-aged people ever, and wide-scale wealth. Middle-aged people invest in the stock market to save up for retirement, thus resulting in the stock market growing to a truly massive percentage of the world's economy.
Now, he just said something really cool about demographics and stuff, and basically saying that once people hit around the age of about 40 to 45, this is the you're supposed to start investing for your retirement at a much younger age, but most of us don't. For the most part, obviously we do and stuff. We're in the cryptocurrency space. We're investors. This is the 117 people live watching right now. We are kind of like tip of the spear when it comes to financial literacy, as well as really putting money into a really specific space we're investors basically, right? Most people are not fucking investors at all, right? But the typical person, but we are not, we're the exception, not the rule, right? The average person really doesn't get to, I mean, it makes sense too why people at 45 or and stuff start really saving for retirement is because, one, their body's starting to hurt no matter what you do, whether you work in an office or in the trades outside. And what you end up doing is you end up feeling like, oh crap, I'm getting old, I can't do this forever. And then you really put some money away. Also around 45, a lot of people really start earning the most money they've ever earned in their whole life and stuff like that. Usually they get that last promotion, maybe it's their last promotion to get, or maybe the second to last promotion, and they really start earning a lot of money. They start getting paid for consultations or things like that. They become kind of leaders in their industry, and they really start earning a lot of capital, and they finally have the capital to start investing for the future. This is why when I think me and Charlie calculated it correctly, I think it was like 2034 is when the average millennial is going to be about 45 years old. And at this age bracket right here, we're probably going to see interest rates go back down to close to zero again, and we're going to have a nice 15 to 20-year bull market. And it makes if you look at it that way, it looks a lot of sense. It's the same thing. Why from I think it was 80. I'm trying to remember the year, but I think it was 83 to like 2006. We had this massive bull market, and that was mostly led off of the boomers essentially getting into that 45-year range and stuff like that, and them joining that class, and then another 10-year bull market in the space as well, just from all of them being to that age where like they needed to put as much money as possible, so the system was flush with cash. Right now we're getting over, I think somewhere between 8 to 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day, and that capital is kind of leaving equities and stuff like that and kind of going into more safer investments. Some of them and some of them are just leaving the stock market, but like withdrawing, so no longer like depositors anymore into the market and stuff. So it's really interesting what's going on in the world right now in terms of that. So we're going to have a nice bull market in the middle of the 2030s, which is really cool. That'll pretty much last until like basically 2050. Pretty insane, dudes, which is really kind of cool. So, and it's almost like we're getting history repeat itself economically, but not like war. I really hope not war wise, because, the last time this happened around and stuff, what got us out of the war, what got us out of like the depression was basically war. This time around, hopefully we don't have that. And it's more of just, we're having this big bull market into the 1950s. And then from there, we have another 20 more years of just a nice bull market before we have a restructuring to the next generations and stuff. So pretty cool.